Ever wondered why certain combinations of musical notes can evoke such strong emotions? Welcome to the enigmatic world of music theory, the key that unlocks the secret language of music. It's more than a set of rules. It's a dynamic discipline that grants us the vocabulary to comprehend the elements of music. From the simplest folk tune to the most intricate symphony, music theory provides a framework, enabling us to dissect and understand the structure of harmony, rhythm, and melody. It's a tool that empowers musicians to express the full spectrum of human emotions through their art, transcending barriers of language and culture. This isn't about memorizing formulas, but about exploring, analyzing, and interpreting the rich diversity of musical experiences that populate our world. So, are you ready? Join me on this voyage of discovery, from the ancient harmonies of Pythagoras to the cutting-edge innovations of contemporary composers. Ever pondered why some chords sound pleasing while others don't? It's all about harmony, a fundamental element of music theory. Harmony is the combination of simultaneously sounded musical notes to produce chords and chord progressions. It's like the color palette of a painting, adding depth, richness, and emotion to the melody. Imagine a melody as a beautiful black and white sketch. Harmony then breathes life into this sketch, filling it with vibrant colors, creating a captivating masterpiece. It's the harmonies that make a piece of music sound complete, giving it character and mood. A major chord might sound happy and bright, a minor chord sad and melancholic. Harmony also provides a sense of direction and resolution in music. It's the tension and release, the suspense and the resolution that keep us hooked, waiting for the next note, the next chord. So the next time you listen to your favorite song, pay attention to the harmonies. They're the silent heroes behind the magic of music. Ever wondered why certain tunes stick in your head long after the song has ended? This, my friends, is the magic of melody. Melody is the main theme of a song, the sequence of notes that makes each song unique and memorable. It's the part of music that we often find ourselves humming or whistling throughout the day. Picture melody as a journey. Each note is a step along the path, leading us through a landscape of sound. The melody can take us on grand adventures, soaring to great heights, diving into deep valleys, or winding through intricate mazes of harmony. Melody is the voice of a song, telling a story through its rises and falls, its twists and turns. It's the thread that weaves through the tapestry of music, tying together rhythm and harmony into a cohesive whole. Remember, melody is the soul of music, the part that often lingers in our minds and hearts. Ever found yourself tapping your foot or bobbing your head to the beat of a song? That's the magic of rhythm at work. Just as the ticking of a clock marks the passage of time, rhythm sets the pace for music. It's the backbone that gives structure to a melody, the framework that holds the music together. But rhythm is more than just a metronome ticking away in the background. It's a dynamic force that shapes the character and mood of a song, making it catchy, memorable, or profoundly moving. Rhythm can be steady or variable, simple or complex, subtle or bold. It can make us want to dance, or it can stir deep emotions within us. It can convey a sense of urgency or a feeling of tranquility. It can mirror the rhythm of our own heartbeat or the rhythmic patterns of nature. So the rhythm, it's the pulse, the heartbeat of music that keeps us engaged and wanting more. So, what does all this talk about harmony, melody, and rhythm mean? Well, together these three elements form the trinity of music theory. Harmony, the way chords are sequenced, gives depth and complexity to music. It's like the color palette an artist uses to bring a painting to life. Melody, on the other hand, is the tune you hum or whistle. It's the story that music tells, the narrative arc that pulls at our heartstrings. Then there's rhythm, the heartbeat of music, the temporal framework that gives music its pulse, its pace, its groove. These elements aren't isolated. They intertwine, they communicate. They dance together to create the symphony of sounds we call music. They're the tools composers use to craft pieces that can soothe our souls, uplift our spirits, or make our hearts race. So, here we are at the end of our journey. We've delved into the captivating world of music theory, unlocking the harmony of sound.
Have you ever wondered what makes a piece of music catchy or compelling? The answer lies in rhythm, an elemental force that shapes the soundscape of every tune. It's the heartbeat of music, dictating its tempo, meter, and groove. Think of tempo as the speed of the music, setting its pace and overall vibe. Meter, on the other hand, is the organization of beats into regular groups, providing a rhythmic framework and establishing the groove. The beat, the basic time unit in music, is like the ticking clock that underlies the rhythm. It's these beats, emphasized differently, that form rhythmic patterns, the building blocks of any melody. But what adds spice to this rhythmic stew? Syncopation. It's the offbeat emphasis that creates a sense of tension and interest. Beyond that, the groove, the swing of the rhythm, and complex techniques like polyrhythm and polymeter all contribute to the rhythmic texture of a piece. Diving deeper, each component of rhythm holds its own significance. Let's unravel them one by one. Tempo, the speed of music, sets the pace and influences the overall feel. Think of it as the heartbeat of a song. It can be slow, creating a calm, tranquil atmosphere, or fast, driving the energy and excitement. Terms like adagio, moderato, and allegro, or specific beats per minute, help musicians set this tempo. Now let's shift to meter. Meter is like the skeleton that organizes beats into regular groups. Most Western music uses meters like 2/4, 3/4, or 4/4, where the top number tells us the number of beats in a measure, and the bottom number indicates the note value of each beat. So, if you've ever tapped your foot to the beat of a song, you've been following its meter. These two concepts, tempo and meter, work hand in hand. They set the pace and establish the rhythmic framework, providing the structure that makes music, well, musical. So, tempo and meter, together, set the pace and rhythmic framework of music. Now let's talk about the heartbeat of music, the beat. This is the basic unit of time in music, the steady pulse that underpins rhythm. Whether slow or fast, loud or soft, the beat keeps the rhythm in check, providing a guiding pulse for the music. But music isn't just a single, unchanging beat. It's a combination of sounds and silences, creating unique rhythmic patterns. Imagine notes and rests as puzzle pieces. These pieces, with their different durations, come together to form a pattern. Some notes linger, creating a sense of suspense, while others are quick, injecting energy into the music. And let's not forget the rests, those moments of silence that provide a breathing space, a pause that heightens anticipation for the next note. These beats and patterns, they're not just arbitrary. They're carefully arranged to create motifs, recurring patterns that become familiar as the music unfolds. Together, the beat and rhythmic patterns breathe life into the skeletal framework of tempo and meter. To add a dash of spice to the rhythm, we bring in syncopation, groove, polyrhythm, and polymeter. Now let's unwrap these musical gifts one by one. First up, syncopation. It's like the unexpected guest at a party, bringing a burst of excitement. In music, syncopation happens when emphasis is placed on weak beats or off beats, rather than on the strong ones. This shift creates a sense of tension and adds a captivating twist to the rhythm. Jazz, funk, Latin music, they all love to play with syncopation. Next, we have groove. Think of it as the rhythm's personality. It's not just about the timing of the notes, but also the subtle variations, accents, and interactions between different parts of the music. A good groove can make the rhythm infectious, compelling, and get your foot tapping almost involuntarily. Finally, let's talk about the double trouble, polyrhythm and polymeter. Polyrhythm is when two or more conflicting rhythms are played simultaneously, and polymeter is the use of different meters at the same time. These two can create complex, intricate rhythmic textures in music. You can find them in African drumming, progressive rock, contemporary classical music, and many more. These elements add complexity and intrigue, making the rhythm of the music vibrant and dynamic. So next time you listen to music, try to catch these spices in action and see how they add that extra flavor to the rhythm. Rhythm, in its entirety, plays a crucial role in shaping the mood, energy, and structure of a piece of music. It's the framework that organizes sounds and silences, setting the tempo and groove, creating rhythmic patterns through beats, and adding interest with syncopation. Rhythm can be complex with techniques like polyrhythm and polymeter, or it can sway with an infectious groove. It's the heartbeat of music, giving it life and movement. Mastering rhythm, hence, becomes essential for musicians and composers across all genres, making music compelling and catchy.
Ever wondered what makes a song catchy or unforgettable? The secret is in its melody. A melody, friends, is the lifeblood of any tune you find yourself humming along to. It's a beautiful sequence of pitches or notes strung together in a unique order that gives a song its identity. Picture it as the footprints of a song leaving its distinct mark on the sands of music. It's the melody that sets the tone, creates the mood, and guides us through the emotional landscape of a piece. It can soar high or dip low, creating contours and shapes that stir our feelings and resonate deep within us. The melody works its magic, transforming a simple sequence of notes into a memorable musical journey. It's the melody that breathes life into a song, making it alive and vibrant. So the melody is like the heart of a song, pumping life into every beat. Now let's break down the melody into its fundamental components. Think of a melody as a journey. The sequence of pitches is our roadmap, guiding us up, down, and sometimes looping us back around. It's this arrangement of notes that gives us a sense of direction and movement. Now imagine this journey has a landscape. That's your contour or shape. It's the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys of your melody. Like a story, it can rise, creating tension, or fall, releasing that tension. This shape emotionally engages us, pulling us into the music. Our journey's distance is defined by intervallic relationships. These are the gaps between notes. Small intervals, like a gentle hill, create a feeling of closeness or tension. Larger intervals, like a tall mountain, give a sense of openness or expansiveness. It's these distances that give a melody its character. But what's a journey without some familiar sights? That's where repetition and variation come in. Repetition is like seeing a familiar landmark, providing a sense of unity and cohesion. Variation, on the other hand, is the unexpected detour that keeps us engaged. Phrases are the smaller sections of our journey. They're like the chapters of our story, each with a clear beginning and ending. It's these phrases that break our journey into digestible, meaningful chunks. Our journey's pace is set by rhythmic patterns. They're like the speed at which we travel, fast or slow, steady or syncopated. These rhythms add complexity and depth to our journey, making it more than just a sequence of notes. And finally, the emotional and expressive content is the heart of the journey. It's the feeling of the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair, the sense of joy, sadness, excitement. It's these emotions that a melody can evoke, making our journey a truly memorable experience. Each of these components adds a unique flavor to the melody, making it more than just a sequence of notes. But melody isn't just about notes and intervals, it's also about emotions. Indeed, the emotional power of melody is one of its most compelling aspects. The choice of pitches, intervals, rhythm, and contour can evoke a spectrum of emotions in the listener. It's amazing how a series of notes can inspire joy, ignite passion, or even bring a tear to your eye. Consider the rise and fall of a melody's contour. The ascension can build anticipation, create excitement, while a descent might signify a resolution, a sense of melancholy, or a sigh of relief. The intervals between notes, too, play a crucial role. Smaller intervals can create a sense of intimacy or tension, while larger intervals might suggest a feeling of grandeur or expansiveness. The rhythm can add another layer of emotional depth, with faster rhythms often associated with joy and energy, and slower rhythms conveying a sense of calm or sadness. So, melody is not just a tune you hum along to, it's an emotional journey that touches your heart. Melody is truly a central element of music. It is the sequence of pitches that forms the very backbone of our favorite tunes. Each pitch, moving up, down, or repeating, creates a sense of direction, a journey that our ears follow. The contour of this journey, whether ascending, descending, or undulating, shapes the emotional impact of the melody. It's the intervals between these pitches that further define its character. Small intervals whispering intimacy or tension, larger ones singing of openness or expansiveness. These melodies are not random, they're structured into phrases punctuated by repetition and variation. Repetition for familiarity, variation for intrigue. And it's the rhythm, the spacing of notes and time that adds the final layer of character. All these elements combine to create a melody's emotional and expressive content, its power to evoke joy, sadness, nostalgia, or excitement. Whether simple or complex, melodies are often the most memorable part of a song, the part that stays with you long after the last note has been played.
Ever wondered what makes a piece of music sound complete and satisfying? It's called harmony. This magical element involves combining different musical pitches simultaneously to create chords and chord progressions. Harmony is one of the fundamental elements of music, providing the vertical dimension that complements the horizontal dimension of melody. At the heart of harmony lies chords, groups of 3 or more pitches played together. These clusters of notes, like the building blocks of a musical skyline, each bring their own unique flavor to the soundscape. The most basic of these is the triad, a trio of notes consisting of the root, third, and fifth. Picture it like a sandwich, with the root note as the bread and the third and fifth as the tasty fillings. These notes are usually stacked in thirds, a musical interval that adds depth and richness. Beyond the triad, we venture into the realm of major and minor chords, diminished and augmented chords, and seventh chords, each with their own distinct intervals and sound profiles, like different spices in a dish. These varying forms of chords each bring a distinct flavor to the music. Chords in their varying forms are the building blocks of harmony, each bringing a distinct flavor to the music. Once we have our chords, we arrange them in sequences known as chord progressions. Imagine a story without a plot. It would be a collection of random events without any sense of direction or purpose. Similarly, chord progressions give music its structure and narrative arc. They are the plot of our musical story, guiding the listener through a journey of tension, resolution, departure, and return. Think of them as the roadmap of a song outlining its harmonic path. Common chord progressions, like the 1-4-5-1 progression in major keys, or the 1-4-5-1 progression in minor keys, provide a sense of familiarity and comfort. They're like well-trodden paths that our ears recognize and enjoy. But composers can also create unique and unexpected progressions, taking listeners on surprising and exciting harmonic adventures. Regardless of the specific chords used, all progressions serve the same fundamental purpose: to create a sense of movement and direction. Chord progressions are the framework, giving music a sense of movement and direction. Every chord in a progression has a specific role, a harmonic function. Let's unravel this concept a bit further. The 3 primary harmonic functions are tonic, dominant, and subdominant. The tonic chord, often the first chord, is our tonal center, our home base. It provides a sense of stability and resolution. Then we have the dominant chord, usually the 5th chord. It creates tension and leads us back home to the tonic. The subdominant chord, often the 4th, gives us a sense of departure or contrast. Now, beyond these functional roles, chords also contribute their unique flavor to the overall mood and atmosphere of a piece of music. And this is what we call harmonic color. Different chords evoke different emotions and feelings due to their unique combinations of pitches and intervals. For example, major chords often convey brightness, joy, or triumph, while minor chords tend to evoke sadness, melancholy, or introspection. Other chords, like diminished or augmented chords, add a sense of tension or ambiguity, deepening the harmonic palette. So, whether you're listening to a symphony, a jazz tune, or the latest pop hit, remember that every chord is playing its part both functionally and emotionally. Understanding harmonic function and color is essential for analyzing and composing harmonic progressions. Now, how do we move from one chord to another? That's where voice leading comes in. Voice leading is like the choreography in a dance, guiding each individual musical voice as they move from one chord to the next. It's all about ensuring smooth, logical transitions and avoiding any awkward leaps or dissonant intervals. Imagine each note in a chord as an individual dancer. They can move up, down, or stay in the same place when the chord changes. The goal is to make these movements as smooth and direct as possible. For example, if we're moving from a C major chord to a G major chord, we wouldn't want our C note to jump all the way to the B. Instead, it would smoothly step down to the B, making the transition feel natural and seamless. But voice leading isn't just about smoothness, it's also about maintaining independence between the voices. Each voice should have its own distinct path, rather than just mimicking the others. This maintains the richness and complexity of the harmony. Voice leading also helps to shape the emotional journey of the music. By carefully guiding each voice, we can create tension, resolution, and everything in between. With good voice leading, we can create harmonically rich and satisfying music. So, harmony is not just a random combination of notes. It's a complex system of chords, progressions, and functions that provide structure, movement, and color. Remember, understanding harmony is key to creating rich, expressive music. Harmony shapes the tonal and emotional landscape of a piece of music, making it complete and satisfying. Wondered how the major scale in music is formed? Well, let's dive into the magic of the major scale, the cornerstone of countless music pieces. The major scale is a sequence of 7 notes, each separated by a specific pattern of intervals. Imagine a ladder, where each rung represents a musical note. The distance between each rung or note is called an interval. Now, in the major scale, these intervals follow a particular pattern. A whole step, another whole step, then a half step, followed by a whole step, another whole step, yet another whole step, and finally a half step. Let's illustrate this with the example of C major. Picture the first rung of our ladder as the note C. We take a whole step up to the second rung, landing on the note D. Another whole step takes us to E. Then comes a half step leading us to F. We climb a whole step to G, another to A, yet another to B, and finally a half step brings us back to C, completing an octave. So the notes of the C major scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. This sequence of notes, my friends, is the magic of the major scale, the foundation upon which so much of our music is built. It's like a musical alphabet, providing us with the vocabulary to express every emotion, from the depths of sorrow to the heights of joy. And it's this pattern of whole and half steps that gives the major scale its distinctive sound, a sound that resonates in countless songs, symphonies, and compositions. So whether you're a budding musician looking to understand the building blocks of music, or an avid listener seeking to deepen your appreciation of the music you love, the major scale is a fundamental concept to grasp. So that's the major scale for you, a sequence of 7 notes separated by a particular pattern of intervals. It's a simple concept, but one with profound implications for the music we create and enjoy. Now, have you heard about the circle of fourths? Let's dive into it. The circle of fourths, my friends, is a musical concept that's as intriguing as it sounds. It's a sequence of keys where each key is a perfect fourth above the preceding one. Sounds simple, right? But it's this simplicity that gives birth to a world of complex harmonies and melodies. Let's start from the very beginning. The key of C major. The next key in our circle would be F major, which is a perfect fourth above C. Now, if we keep moving along this musical circle, the next stop would be B flat, a perfect fourth above F. As we continue our journey, we land on E flat, then on to A flat, D flat, and then to G flat. Now, this is where things get interesting. After G flat, we don't continue to flat keys. Instead, we land on B, which is a perfect fourth above G flat if we consider G flat as F sharp. Following the same pattern, we move on to E, then A and D, and finally we circle back to G, which is a perfect fourth above D. And there you have it, the complete circle of fourths: C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, and G. But wait, there's more. There's a key element we haven't yet discussed. As we traverse this circle, each step adds a flat to the key signature, and we move counterclockwise. This is critically important as it helps us understand how key signatures change as we shift from one key to another. For instance, when we move from C major to F major, we add a flat to the key signature. As we progress to B flat, we add another flat. This pattern continues until we reach G flat, where the key signature has 6 flats. But remember the twist? When we jump to B, we switch to 5 sharps and then continue to reduce the number of sharps as we complete the circle. The circle of fourths, therefore, is not just a sequence of keys. It's a roadmap, a guide, that helps us navigate the intricate world of music. It allows us to understand key relationships, to predict chord progressions, and to comprehend the subtle shifts in harmony and melody that make music so enchanting. So the next time you're composing a piece or trying to decipher a complex melody, remember the circle of fourths. Use it as a tool, a compass, to explore the vast and beautiful landscape of music. And that, folks, is the circle of fourths, a fascinating tool to understand the relationship between different keys in music. So, we've understood the circle of fourths. But what about the circle of fifths? Well, the circle of fifths is another powerful tool in the world of music theory. It's a sequence of keys where each key is a perfect fifth above the previous one. Now, let's break down this circle starting from the key of C major. Imagine a clock. But instead of hours, we have keys. At 12 o'clock, we have C. Now, if we move a perfect fifth above C, we land on G. So, G takes the 1 o'clock position. From G, a perfect fifth leap takes us to D, which sits at the 2 o'clock position. Continuing this cycle, we move a perfect fifth from D to A, then A to E, E to B, B to F sharp to C sharp to G sharp to D sharp to A sharp, and finally, we come back to F, which is a perfect fifth above A sharp. This clockwise journey around our musical clock, from C through all these keys and back to F, forms the circle of fifths. But there's something else we need to note about this circular journey. As we move from one key to the next, we're adding a sharp to the key signature with each step. For instance, the key of C has no sharps or flats, but as we move to G, we add one sharp. Moving to D, we add another sharp, and this pattern continues. Each step sharpens our musical understanding, if you'll pardon the pun. The circle of fifths is like a map, guiding us through the landscape of music theory. It shows us the relationships between different keys, helping us understand how they relate to each other. It's a fundamental part of learning about key changes, chord progressions, and even composition. You see, knowing your way around the circle of fifths isn't just about understanding the theory, it's about opening up new possibilities for your music. It's about seeing the connections, the patterns, and the harmonies that exist within the world of music. And the beautiful thing about the circle of fifths is that it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner just starting out or a seasoned musician with years of experience. It's a concept that grows with you, offering deeper insights and more complex connections the more you explore it. So the next time you pick up your instrument, why not take a moment to think about the circle of fifths? Consider how the keys relate to each other, how each step adds a new sharp to the mix. See if you can spot these relationships in the music you're playing. You might just find that it brings a whole new level of understanding to your music. That's the circle of fifths for you. Another key concept in understanding the relationships between different keys in music. Let's recap what we've learned today. At the heart of music theory is the major scale, a 7-note sequence characterized by a specific pattern of intervals: whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Take the key of C major, for instance, where we find the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Then we dove into the circle of fourths and the circle of fifths, two related concepts that shine a light on the relationships between the 12 tones of the chromatic scale and the keys in music. The circle of fourths is a sequence of keys where each key is a perfect fourth above the previous one. Starting from C major, we'd find ourselves following the sequence: C, F, B, E, A, D, G, B, E, A, D, and back to G. Notice that each step in the circle adds a flat to the key signature as we move counterclockwise. On the other hand, the circle of fifths takes us on a journey where each key is a perfect fifth above the previous one. Starting from C major again, we traverse the sequence: C, G, D, A, E, B, F, was, C, G, G, J, D, C, A, was, and finally, back to F. Here, each step in the circle adds a sharp to the key signature as we move in a clockwise direction. Both these circles are invaluable tools for understanding the relationships between keys, chord progressions, and modulation in music. They're often represented as diagrams to help visualize the connections between keys and the changes in key signatures as we move around the circle. And that wraps up our exploration of the major scale, the circle of fourths and the circle of fifths. Keep these concepts in mind, and you'll find your understanding of music deepening.